Joining us now, Mark Eiglarsh, attorney at SpeakToMark.com, Danny Savalos, attorney and CNN legal analyst, HLN's Lynn Berry, and Emily Miller, senior editor of opinion at the Washington Times, also author of Emily Gets Her Gun. And joining me by phone, CNN correspondent Susan Candiotti. Susan, you've been following the story. Give us the latest.
Hi, Dr. Durwell. Tonight, another biker has been arrested. He's 29 years old. His name is Craig Wright. He's been charged with 3 different counts, including gang assault, and unlawful imprisonment. Now, police are telling me that he allegedly used his fist, used his feet, even used his helmet to assault this driver of the SUV after he was pulled out of the car. And yes, go ahead.
Well, no, it's just disturbing to hear these stories. And what's new about the allegations about a New York off-duty police officer having waited 4 days to report this incident?
Exactly. Right now, Internal Affairs is investigating this. He's been pulled off the street, not surprisingly, and been given a desk job while they investigate this. But that's what my sources are telling me, that you have at least this one undercover cop who was off duty at the time and who was present for the whole thing, including the assault. That's according to my sources. And that he waited until Wednesday following the Sunday assault to report this to his superiors. Now, this makes no sense, even if you were working off-duty undercover and you were afraid of blowing your cover. That's what I'm told. Why would you wait so long to report it? Now, we understand as well, one more thing, there is at least one other undercover cop who was also off-duty and working that.
Thanks, Susan.
Who also is being investigated.
I also understand that he wasn't undercover with that gang, guys, so it's not as though he was undercover in that motorcycle gang. And they're claiming they're not a gang, by the way. I want to show you some pictures from the New York Post showing what happened when the bikers finally caught up with the SUV. Here they are smashing the back window. Wow. The driver, you can see there on the ground, pulled from the car and beaten. There he is there on the ground on his all fours. Now, bystanders eventually step in to try to stop the attack. Danny, this seems to show a defenseless man being brutally beaten. Am I missing something?
No, I think you're interpreting the pictures pretty accurately. But I mean, to play devil's advocate for a moment, it's interesting when we talk about the undercover policeman, because could an argument be made that up until the car is actually stopped, and of course the vigilante justice ensues, but up until that moment, it's entirely possible that one of the motorcyclists could have seen, from his perspective, a Range Rover running over a few of his buddies. And I have to wonder, to what degree just following that SUV, just to keep them from escaping, that is a citizen's privilege to do so. I don't condone any of the vigilante justice, but it is interesting that on some level, as citizens, they were privileged to at least follow and possibly even prevent escape under New York law.
Well, Danny, I actually am sympathetic to that point of view, too, a little bit. But I want to show you a picture of the man who smashed the driver's window in with his helmet, who was in court yesterday. Norman Lono captured this picture of him flipping off a reporter.
Doesn't help his case.
It does not help his case. Doesn't make me feel as though he's the guy that was just interested in doing his civic duty, Mark.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be hard for me to defend him. Maybe I would argue he's showing everyone the peace sign with just one finger. No, that wouldn't work.
It would have to be kind of.
That doesn't help.
I can't do it.
No. Prosecutors are considering the total package. They're considering the fact that the world is watching, and if the climate is such that these are guys who are perceived as not good people, then the plea offers will reflect that. I don't think he did himself any service by doing that.
And Lynn, we covered this story last week, and I got a lot of heat for saying, you know, I want to believe that if I felt threatened, and I'm sure the driver felt threatened, but I wouldn't believe I wouldn't run over somebody unless I had absolute, like somebody was holding a weapon at me or something. That's the part of this I'm uncomfortable with. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, and I understand. I'd like to believe that I would do the same, but one of the members of your behavior bureau pointed out accurately, you are trained as a physician to have that sort of fight or flight. You can combat your fight or flight instinct. I, on the other hand, as a regular citizen, when something happens that seems sort of traumatic, I tend to freeze up. That's just the way I am. And if I were in that situation and I had my 2-year-old little baby in the car, I will tell you, and I said it last week, I would have hit that gas pedal as quickly as I could to get my baby out of that situation. That's just me.
I think a lot of people feel that way. In fact, the Twitter let me know that a lot of people feel that way. But Emily, you're new to this panel. Now, what were your thoughts when you first heard the story?
Well, my first thought was, obviously, I think this poor man, this family, they were victimized. There's no question about that. Why nobody came to their defense, and especially these cops didn't even help them. I mean, they acted out of panic. But my first thought was, you know, New York City has the strictest gun control laws in the country, along with some of the other big cities like Chicago and D.C. And when those motorcycle thugs, drug dealers, whatever they were, pulled that car over and started beating up that father and scaring that mother and that baby, it was because they knew that guy wasn't armed, that man was disarmed. And think about that. Would this have happened in a state like, say, Texas or Florida, where people have carry rights or people have guns to defend themselves?
So
I mean,
we should arm
instead,
everybody?
this family was
I
just...
think that's the worst possible situation here. Then what if all the bikers were armed with guns as well? Then you're looking at a full-on Old Western shootout. Not smart
at all. Why would it be bad for a law-abiding person like the man who's driving that car, or like me who has a gun? Why is it a bad idea for us to have a gun to defend ourselves?
Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but
then
then
Range Rover and he did defend himself.
Okay, and what if one of the bikers who bashed in the window then took the gun from him, and then now he's armed? I don't think that's the best way possible.
That's a hypothetical.
Let me ask this.
I don't think that's a good solution by any means.
Emily, what if? So I think what you were saying is if you had been driving that SUV, you would have shown your weapon.
Well, I live in Washington, D.C., and we're not allowed to take our guns out of the home, unlike the Constitution allows anyway. But I'm saying if this incident, I don't think this incident would have happened in a state like, say, Virginia or Florida or Texas, where there are people with carry permits, where there are people who are armed, unlike New York City, which Mayor Bloomberg has pretty much disarmed.
Well, hang on, Emily.
I don't think this would have happened.
I've got a defense attorney from Florida, and I'm sure, Mark, you never defend anybody who uses a firearm.
No, and I only defend
innocent people. Do you think this whole thing would have happened in that state? But of course it would have. It does. I defend people every day. It happens all the time. I don't think that what you're saying. I guess in theory. Like that motorcycle
not
people
often,
just
but it happens.
Beat up around.
Not just motorcycle people, but random people who get into it with people. It just happens. Road rage happens everywhere. Right. It's hot down here too.
This was not road rage. This was an assaulted attack on an innocent family. They drove 50 blocks, followed them, and then beat them till the man was just incapable of even driving because his tires were so destroyed. I mean, this went on and on and on. This was not one incident of road rage. This was a gang mentality where they jumped in and they kept attacking in broad daylight in the middle of the city.
All right, here's what we're going to do.
You bring guns to the equation, you have dead bodies, though.
Yes,
I don't know.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from
the... Or you stop a crime before it happens.
I wish it was that way, Emily. I like to believe that it would be like that, but I have a feeling...
Well, Dr. Drew, there are millions of stories every year of people using guns to defend themselves, and while gun crime is going down
He started breaking the glass. He finally opened the door, and he grabbed the lady in front of the SUV. And he grabbed her by her arms, and he was pulling her out of the car. She started screaming, and then we saw the baby. And everybody started screaming, no, not the lady, not with the baby.
Welcome back, my co-host Samantha Shocker, and we've been discussing the SUV driver who was swarmed and beaten by a pack of bikers in New York City. That was a bystander who jumped in to help the driver. Back with us, Mark, Danny, Lynn, and Emily. Mark, undercover cops apparently were riding with the bikers. It's hard to understand why they didn't put a stop to this, or why they didn't report it right when it had happened.
Yeah, I have no answer to that. At first, I said, well, they're undercover. They don't want to blow anything. They're gonna arrest somebody. But then why wait days later and then finally report it? It doesn't make sense. I don't think that they have a defense. I don't.
The guy who caused the initial accident spoke to ABC's Good Morning America this morning, and look at how he defended himself. Hey, I'm going to show you this. Look.
I didn't think I was doing anything wrong with just turning into another lane.
Except for you were going really slowly in front of him.
The other bikes are going as slow as I am.
Right, because it looks like they're slowing down because you're all trying to get this guy to stop.
No, my intention was never to make him stop.
What?
Lynn, is that your understanding what that guy was up to?
I mean, listen, he's sitting next to his lawyer, and he started a story that has endured in the news for days and days and days, and he knows he's in a lot of trouble because he's the one that kicked it off. So, of course, he's going to say something like that. But, Dr. Drew, you were just talking about how you wish that you could believe in yourself, that you wouldn't have put your foot on the gas and run over them.
Yeah.
I wish, and I think all of us wish, that we would be a bystander that would step in.
Right.
But keep in mind, these are hundreds of these very aggressive bikers. These weren't just guys that were hanging out on a regular motorcycle ride. They were provocative, and they were angry, and they were aggressive. And who knows if one of them would have had a gun. That's what I would have been thinking about as a bystander, and that's why I would have been scared to step in myself.
Lynn,
and these undercover cops, you don't know if they felt the same way.
Were you one of the people that saw the group before? Is that you? I forget.
I
talked to-
did, yeah.
Now you described them as so aggressive. You know, they look that way in retrospect because we see all the horrible things that happen. But I don't know, if the guy's doing wheelies down the street, it's a big bunch of bikers. Who cares? You know, you know what I mean?
No. I know what you're thinking, and I know why you say that, but I was sitting there on the side of the West Side Highway, and I got nervous just being on the sidewalk. These guys were popping their wheels. They were making faces at everyone. A lot of them were wearing these masks. Some of them looked like sort of costume masks, and they were being provocative and aggressive even before any of this happened. And we were all talking about it there on the sidewalk. We were just trying to cross the West Side Highway at 23rd Street. So this is, I know that it's hard for people to understand. This was something that I saw for my own eyes as them being provocative before any of this even happened.
Sam?
I just can't believe that footage of that biker who's clearly on purpose slowing down in front of the Range Rover, and then he has the audacity on live television to say that he didn't slow down on purpose. I think that makes him look worse. Own up.
Emily, you look a little sort of surprised by all this. I want to go to Emily first.
Well, I'll tell you what I find to be, I mean, we already have 4 people in custody over this, and obviously they're all going to get charged heavily for what they did. I find this whole situation with the cops very suspicious. I mean, why has Police Commissioner Ray Kelly slowed down and not told us? What we've this undercover thing, this is only a rumor. We have absolutely no evidence. Ray Kelly has never said anyone's undercover. All we know is that there is at least 1, possibly 2, off-duty police officers in the situation who did not stand up. And police officers have an obligation, whether on duty or not, to stop something, much less a conscience as a human being when you see someone getting beat to death. And I just would specify, if you look at the crime numbers in the FBI every year, more people are beat to death with hands and feet every year than the combination of people killed with rifles and shotguns combined. And the police officers know that. Why they didn't get involved, it is unbelievable to me. And why is Ray Kelly, the police commissioner of New York, not telling anyone? I suspect that he's scared of a lawsuit because that's what's going to happen. That family's going to sue the city for the police officer who didn't get involved.
This is the more I watch this. Anybody else just get a horrible? Sam, go ahead. This whole thing is so awful. You know. Of course, I like to talk about the fact that woe is me. I hope I wouldn't do something as horrible as this. But this thing got so out of hand on all fronts. There are people on ventilators in hospitals now. This poor family was traumatized. Who knows if they'll ever recover? Go ahead, Sam.
No, I agree. It's a terrible situation, no matter how you look at it. I just wanted to say that comparing, hands or your fists to guns, I mean, we're all armed with our fists. So it's a skewed statistic to say that there's more deaths from fists than weapons because we are all armed with our fists. Just saying.
No, but that's not skewed. That's not skewed. That's just factual. The FBI statistics are more people are beaten to death every year than killed by rifle and shotgun. That's not
because there's more people with fists than people with guns.
Well, maybe. And
that's
it's not
the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Okay, hold on. I want to show you guys a tweet. Pull this tweet up there if you guys couldn't control it.
All right, so let's start regulating fists.
Hold on. Well, we do regulate fists. Emily, I can't just go beat somebody. Come on now. We do regulate that.
She's talking about like having laws against fists.
By the way, we should be so lucky. Mark, would you like to have your fist registered and outlawed? It'd be awesome. Let me.
Drew, they are.
Oh,
they are registered.
I should have known. I should have known. I want to put this tweet up here. Can somebody put the tweet up there? Was it possible? This tweet from Luxury Real Estate. Here it comes, guys. At MESSESS, EMMY. He says, for the first time I saw the video, I felt the life of the Range Rover. Oh, they can't put it up. I'm reading it to you. He did what he had to do to try to protect his family. And that's when I want to ask my attorneys, both Danny and Mark, you first, what should happen to this driver if, say, that guy that's on the ventilator, supposedly paralyzed, never recovers?
Well, the outcome of what he did is not the issue. The issue is, was he justified in driving his vehicle away at that moment? The fact that he dies or he gets injured or he recovers, that's not the issue. Was he justified in doing so? And so far, the police found that he is. Just so we're clear, what he does and what the other people do are separate issues. People are trying to point the finger. Well, he's wrong, so he's right. It doesn't work that way. Everyone is judged independently.
And Danny, take me home. And you were tying them together a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, what a fine line there is in a police investigation between defendant and victim. And this case illustrates that. Consider of the most serious injuries is a person that the police may have even charged or could have charged as a defendant. It's amazing how just the police's initial impression will guide the entire case going forward from that moment on. It's an unenviable position. They have to make difficult, snap judgments. This is one of them.
And finally, Lynn, I got a few seconds here. Where is this going from here? What's the next few days going to hold?
Well, keep in mind, New York has probably the most surveillance cameras of any city in the world. So there are many, many more developments that are going to come out of this as they peel through countless testimony, countless witness accounts, and then that video. So we're not going to hear the last of this story.
Thank you, guys. Good panel.